Hey, what's up, guys? This is another episode of Greater Ethiopia. I hope you like my lighting. I hope you like my setting. I ordered it off of Amazon. I had a subscriber yesterday tell me that he liked my content, but he doesn't like my setup. He said it's too dark, and I agree with him. Yesterday, I just ended up doing a video impromptu. It was my birthday, so I was like, man, let me just do a video. I've been thinking about it for a long time. Let me just do a video tonight. If I don't start tonight, I'll never start again. So I'm glad I started yesterday. It sort of broke the ice. Therefore, I'm back again today. Now, if you haven't been to my video, if you haven't been to my channel, go to watch my first videos. This channel is all about Ethiopia. Ethiopia is my favorite country in the world. Ethiopia is a biblical land. It's the black man's Jerusalem. Ethiopia is the land in which described in the Bible many times. And starting in Genesis chapter 2, throughout the Bible. So therefore, I'm very interested in Ethiopia, and I was very blessed by God to have lived in Ethiopia for 7 years. Unfortunately now, though, in Ethiopia, over the last 2 years, there has been the bloodiest conflict that has ever happened here. There has been the bloodiest conflict that there ever was anywhere on the globe in the last 2 years. Ethiopian war will make the Ukrainian war look like Disney World, okay? So many people died in the last 2 years in Ethiopia. It's ridiculous. More than 1 million people died. Can you believe that? I can't believe it, but I had to believe it. I saw it for myself. I saw it with my own eyes. I witnessed it in real time. I was literally a part of history, my friends. So I'm going to break down to you exactly what happened to me when I was in Ethiopia. If you want to know how I felt about Ethiopia, oh man, between the years 2015 to 2020, the first 5 years of my life when it was very peaceful in Ethiopia, oh man, words cannot describe how much I love that place, man. That was hands down the most happiest period of my life. I've never been happier in my entire life. And to be quite honest, I don't even know if I'll ever be that happy again. Hopefully I will, because I have a family, I have kids. So as we grow older, I hope my experiences in life, I can feel as happy as I did in those days. But that truly was the most enjoyable time of my life. Unfortunately, it comes to an end. All things pass into the night, I guess. But what I'm here to do is tell you exactly how things transpired from being the best and the highest of the highest of the highest to the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of my life. I hope you like my lighting and my setup, because I had a subscriber tell me yesterday that they liked my content, but my setup was very terrible. They said that it was too dark and I need to have better lighting. So I bought an $18 podcast kit from Amazon, and it arrived yesterday morning. So therefore, I'm here with you today with my new lighting. Now, when I was in Ethiopia living for 5 years, I was an English teacher. I was a traveler. I had a great time. It was the most peaceful place. It was the most peaceful country that you could ever imagine. Because the Ethiopian people by nature are very hospitable people, okay? Not only are they beautiful people, but they're very hospitable people. To be around Ethiopians is the most pleasant experience that you'll ever have, because they share, like the culture is just all about hospitality and family, inclusiveness and friends. And let me tell you guys, man, oh man, you guys missed it. I ain't gonna lie. When Ethiopia was peaceful, there were so many things to do. There were so many places to go. There were so many people to see. But unfortunately, this damn war really kicked everything to the curb, And therefore, I feel like it's my obligation to let you guys know what's up. You know why? Let me tell you a little quick story before I start giving you a story how my family left Ethiopia and how we ended up here. When I was in Ethiopia, if you remember, I had a video. It said that my last video before last night said that I got my residency. I finally got my residency. I'm an Ethiopian resident. That means that I can go back and forth to Ethiopia without having a visa. At the time I made that video, the war had already broken out for like 7 or 8 months. I was silent, to be honest with you guys. I could have said something then, because I started saying some changes that I didn't like. But, I just pretty much, I took it with a grain of salt. I said, I've been here for 7 years, and so far nothing has happened to me directly. But that changed, okay? How can I say it? I'm gonna explain to you in a second what happened. But what I got to say about this is that when I was in Ethiopia, living there for a year after the war broke out, because after the war broke out in 2000 and I believe 20, yes, 2020, I stayed still in 2021. So I was there for 1 year during the time of the war, and I kept my mouth shut. Then I just stopped making videos altogether because I didn't like what I was saying. But eventually, when things got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, I felt compelled to say something. Therefore, that's why you see me now. If things had gotten better, I would have just pretty much rubbed everything underneath the rug, swept everything underneath the rug, and stayed silent, just like my Ethiopian friends and my Ethiopian family. But I can't stay silent. I'm Black American, and we have a reputation of keeping it real. So I'm going to tell you what happened. So after the war broke out in 2020, my wife and we were trying to decide, is it safe enough to stay here in Ethiopia or should I leave? In my head, I was thinking that, you know why? Because the United States Embassy put out a warning to all American citizens. It says, leave the country now. If you are still in Ethiopia by December, you're on your own. And I was like, damn, what can I do? I'm here with my wife and I have a newborn baby. I just can't get up and leave. When that warning came out, I saw people leaving. Okay? I had Kenyan friends leave. I had some friends from Uganda start leaving because nobody wants to be in a situation where it's unpredictable, But I stayed. I stayed because I had my roots set in Ethiopia already. I was already, you can say, a resident. I have a family. I love the country, so I stayed. But let me tell you a little situation that really made me change my mind, and it was almost the turning point of me leaving Ethiopia. Not permanently, because I plan on going back if I'm allowed. I don't know if Prime Minister Abiy will allow me, because I don't like Prime Minister Abiy, so maybe he won't allow me to come to Ethiopia. But even if he doesn't allow me, I'll still go anyways. But anyways, so in 2020, I was at the house with my wife, and it was just like a normal day, I was out with my friends earlier in the day. In the evening time, I had a couple of beers. Then I went home to my beautiful wife, and she always have dinner ready. I was sneaking inside the door, and she's looking at me like, oh, you went out tonight, you was drinking beer again, huh? And I just try to avoid her a little bit, go to the couch where I sometimes sleep at that time, so I don't have to sleep in the bed with my wife, and she smell beer on me and stuff because she don't like that, So I fell asleep, and I was just, doing my normal routine. Now let me tell you, before this night, what happened was I started hearing more and more rumors about wars in the outskirts of Addis Ababa, wars in the Oromo region, wars in the Amahar region, or to the Great region. Not really wars, but let's say massacres, the burning of churches, and ethnic tribalism, fighting going on and stuff. But in Addis Ababa, I never seen it. Really, I never really experienced it in Addis Ababa itself. Therefore, I was like, maybe this stuff won't affect me as long as I stay in the city. But let me tell you guys who plan on going to Ethiopia, I got a story to tell you. Addis Ababa is safe, but it ain't always safe. Therefore, listen to the story. So I got home that night, and so I was chilling on the couch, and I fell asleep. My wife fell asleep in the room with the kids. I was on the couch, and then around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, my wife came out of the room, and she said, and she sort of going to the bathroom, but she, I'm not that heavy of a sleeper. So when I saw her, I said, hey, baby, what's wrong? What's going on? Because my wife usually doesn't get up in the middle of the night. She just stays asleep the whole night. And she looked very distressed. She said, they killed Hachalu. I said, huh? Someone killed Hachalu, if I'm making, his name wrong, please forgive me, guys. Hachalu is a very famous Oromo singer, okay? And at the time, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything about it, but I know very much now, you know. So I'm just laying on the bed. I'm like, they killed Hachalu. Yes, somebody murdered Hachalu. And I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. You know, like, because at the time, I always heard about somebody getting, you know, killed or somebody getting assassinated, you know, in the rural areas. And then I was like, oh, something happened in the rural area again as I start turning over. She's like, no, it was right here in Addis. I was like, oh, damn, it's in Addis? And she was like, yes. And I was like, okay, baby, okay. No, I'm sorry to hear about that, you know. I didn't think nothing of it. So she went back to her room, our room, actually. You know, I told you I sleep on the couch when I'm in a doghouse. And she went back to the room, and I stayed on the couch. And so as I was sleeping on the couch, that was like 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Maybe 4 even. And I'm just sleeping on the couch. The next thing you know, it's very, very, you know, dark still in the morning time and stuff, you know, because it's still early. The next thing you know, I'm sleeping, guys. I'm sleeping on my couch. And all I hear is, woo, 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 you know, like some people just screaming and growling. And I woke up. I'm like, what is that? You know, what the hell is going on? I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought it was hyena because where I was living in German Akababi. And German Akababi is like on the skirt of Addis Ababa, which means like the rim of Addis. Like it's like almost outside of Addis, but it's still inside of Addis. Because at the time it's more affordable to live there. I had my family and everything. So I almost shrugged it off, but then it got louder and it got louder. And I heard, ah, oh, ah, oh. And I was like, what the hell is that? Bro, I was sort of like, at that time, I knew something wasn't right. So I sort of got off the couch and I snuck to the window and I opened up the blinds. And outside my house, because my house was like, it's an apartment complex. And it's like, I lived on the 5th floor. I lived on the very last floor, the top floor, right? And so like pretty much I can see the whole city from my top floor. You know, we had like a little balcony, a little garden room and everything. So we heard, ah, woo, 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 woo. So I'm like, what the hell? Bro, I opened up my curtain and all I saw was 1,000 people, bro, like screaming and yelling to the top of their lungs, man. I'm serious, man. Like all the streets were covered with people. Everybody had a stick in their hand. Everybody had a brick in their hand. People were, man, at the time, my heart dropped to the bottom of my stomach, bro. I was like scared as hell at that point. I was like, oh crap. My wife came out the room all shaken up. She's like, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? I was like, I don't know. And the people, when I look out on the streets, people were throwing bricks through windows. I'm talking about they had sticks. They was bashing out windows. They was bashing, like, it was like a big ass riot, bro. Like, I'm talking about the streets was full, man, full. And like, just people just all over the streets, throwing bricks through windows, screaming and yelling. They looked very, very, very infuriated. They looked very pissed off, bro. And so I said, oh crap, I sort of panicked. Because, you know, where I was, I felt like somebody could see me. So the first thing I did was I sort of shut the blinds. And immediately I said, baby, go to the room, get Ariel. Not Ariel, Ariel's my second daughter. Get Zion. And she went to grab my daughter. She went back to the room. And then I realized what was happening. My wife said, they're upset. It's the Kuro. At the time, I was like, I don't even know what a Kuro was, bro. So she was like, it might be the Kuro, you know. I was like, the who? All I knew was it was just like 1,000 people who was pissed off right there in the heart of Addis Ababa, man. And so they was just breaking open. They was breaking the windows. They was breaking into stores. They was knocking over the stop signs. They was like literally trashing the whole place. And I was kind of like scared. I mean, I wasn't kind of scared. I was very scared because I was like, oh shit. Because the reason why I was afraid because my apartment complex was right in the path of all these people walking in sort of like a riot. I was in the path of my apartment complex. And so what happened was after that, I told my wife, hey, hurry up. I took the couch and I slid it up to the door. I took all my furniture in the house and I just stacked it on top of the door so nobody can push my door inside, and try to come into my house. And because I felt like they was going to come into my house, because that's how it looked. Because when I look outside the window, they were just going into everybody's houses. They was bursting into stores. They was knocking on. They was throwing rocks, bricks, and everything. Everybody is just coming like a wild, like it was like crazy, right? So I blocked my house. I blocked my door with my couch. I blocked my door with a lot of material so nobody can come in my house, And so my wife and I, we just stayed there. And then we got a call from my manager, or my wife called the manager actually. She called him, and she asked him, "What's going on?" And he said, "Don't leave your house. Stay inside your house. Don't leave." And so we stayed inside the house. And luckily, in the name of God, the 1,000 people who were rioting in the streets, they sort of went past our house. They went past our house and they kept going. And they were, as a matter of fact, they was destroying everything. And after that day, it took until I left a year later, almost half of those buildings was still destroyed. Like, they didn't fix that shit at all. So, I was like, damn, the people were very upset. And I realized what was happening. She said, because of what happened last night, they killed Hachalu. The Oromo people, Hachalu was a famous Oromo singer. So the Oromo people got very upset about that. And so they just pretty much started rioting. They rioted the entire city. And so I was like, damn, I was kind of confused because I didn't know what to do next. Because, I'm there with my family and everything. And I was kind of scared. So we just basically, making a long story short, we stayed inside the house. And I literally was looking out. I was peeking out the window the entire day. And I just saw, chaos, whatever you can see, like the stores that I always go downstairs to get my food and my groceries. They were bursting the windows out of it. But I stayed away from the window because I didn't want nobody to see me. So I stayed away from the window. And so I was like, okay, my wife and I, we just stayed in the house the entire day. And we didn't go anywhere. And luckily enough, it got quieter later in the evening. Because all of that stuff happened early in the morning. And it stayed that way almost the entire day. But later in the evening, the mob started thinning out. It started thinning out, and it looked like they were starting to disperse. And so towards the nighttime, around 7 or 8, I didn't see nobody else. It got quiet. And so I told my wife, I was still shooken up, guys, because I was like, I ain't never seen nothing like this before. I ain't never seen nothing like this before. So my wife was like, okay, look, maybe everything is clear. So I said, look, let's just go to sleep in the living room and not go to sleep in the bedroom. So all my couch, all my furniture was piled up in front of my door, literally like a cartoon, so nobody can just push in my door. And we slept like that the whole night, just in the living room together. And the next morning, what happened was, when I woke up the next morning, everything looked quiet and peaceful. I'm talking about, it was so quiet the next morning. It was like the complete opposite of what happened the day before. And I was like, okay, maybe everything is clear now, Literally, it was so quiet. And I didn't think anything. I was thinking I felt like something was still not right, because after all that stuff that I saw yesterday, why is it so quiet today? Because the next day was very quiet. But what happened was, my wife and I, around noontime, it wasn't even around noon, it was probably like around 11 in the morning, my wife said, hey, look, we don't have any groceries, because we didn't expect like a riot to break out. We didn't expect that we'll have to stay in the house and we'll have to be sheltered inside the house. So we had nothing. We had no tomatoes, no onions, nothing for my wife to cook. So, my wife was getting hungry, I was getting hungry, my daughter was getting hungry. So I said, look, it looks clear outside. I look out the window. I don't see anything. I don't see people rioting. I don't see people throwing bricks through windows. I don't see people, with sticks in their hands, screaming and yelling to the top of their lungs. So I felt comfortable. I said, you know what, baby? Maybe I can go outside now. Maybe I can go out now and get some tomatoes and onions. And so she said, okay. I don't know, but, if you feel, I said, yeah, let me just go on right now while it's still quiet. And then I just run out right quick and get some tomatoes and onions and some injera and come back to the house And then before anything, just because, I know not to be out that long. She said, okay, that's fine. So what happened was, I got my flip flops because I used to wear flip flops a lot in Ethiopia because people like to wear sandals and flip flops a lot, And so I got my flip flops, I got my clothing on and stuff, and I said, okay, baby, look, I'm gonna be right back. And I was very nervous because what happened the day before, I was still very nervous. And so I was like, let me just go on down there right quick because we have no food. Let me just go to the market right quick because I saw like one or two people walking on the street. Usually I see hundreds of people, or at least dozens, but now I just see few, very few. But I was like, okay, it must be something, it must be okay to walk down there. So I went downstairs and I told my wife, I'll be right back. Let me go get some tomatoes and stuff. So I walked down the stairs in my apartment complex. And as I got to the, I took a knife with me, excuse me. I took a knife. I put a knife inside my pants just in case, I have to shank a nigga. I'm just kidding. But anyways, I took a knife inside my pants because I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking like, let me just take something because I just can't, what I saw yesterday, I need to defend myself in case something happened. But I don't think I would have used that knife, guys. I just took it anyways. But as soon as I went downstairs and I got on the street, I saw police officers. And so the police was on each corner of the street. And I said, man, if these officers find a knife on me, I'm going to jail. Because you're not allowed to have a knife in Ethiopia. You can't walk around with a knife and stuff. So not only that, I just thought since I saw the police, everything must have been safe. I was like, okay. So I walked back upstairs. I told my wife, here, take the knife. I don't need it. I'll be right back. And so I went downstairs. And then I was in the back of my head, I was like, oh man, I'm such an adventurer, man. Nobody else would do what I'm doing, be living in the country, see what they saw yesterday and still be, going to the store today. I thought, and I was just so confident that I can just go to the market and nothing would happen. Let me tell you what happened next, guys. So I got past the police checkpoint and I started walking to the outdoor market, where they sell the vegetables and the meat market and stuff. In German Nakababi, it's around the way. So anyways, I got to the meat market. I was walking towards the stores. But I knew something wasn't right, guys. You know why? Because this day, it was completely too quiet. It was never, ever, ever, ever this quiet. I'm talking about even the birds were not chirping. It was complete. You couldn't hear a mouse chirp. So, okay. So I'm like, all right, whatever, So I was kind of nervous still because I didn't like what I was seeing that day before. So I'm going to the store. And then what happened was when I was walking towards the store, I went past a corner and a bend. And when I went past this bend, I literally saw like 20 people running in my direction. Because I was the only person out there with a few other people. It wasn't that many people, like I told you. It's usually a lot of activity going on. And the only reason why I went was to get some groceries. So I just went, even though it wasn't that many people as usual. And I thought it would be okay. But when I turned the bend to go to the market, I saw like 20 people running really fast towards me in my direction. And I was like, Black Americans, we got a reputation. When we see somebody run, we start running too. We don't even give a damn. Like, if I see like a group of people running, I don't know what they're running from. I'm starting to run too. So when they start running, guess what I start doing, y'all? I started running too, and I was running with the people. I didn't even know where I was running to. I'm looking at people on my left and right, like, I was like, damn, where these people going? Where am I going? I don't even know where. So I thought they was running from the police. I was like, maybe, the police is roughing people up because that's known to be happening too. Sometimes in Ethiopia, the police rough people up. People start running a little bit, So I'm just running with the people. And then, guess what, guys? When I turned the corner to go back home, that's when I saw what the people were running from. Man, the 1,000 people that I saw yesterday with the sticks and the bricks in their hand, it was 2,000 today. I'm talking about, bro, the streets was full. As soon as I cut the corner, I saw down the street in the direction towards my house, and coming in my direction was 2,000 people. Everybody had a brick in their hand. Everybody had a stick in their hand. Man, I was freaking out. I got scared as hell, man. I got scared as hell. I was like, oh crap. I turn around and I start running from these people. And and the people who was running with me, we all started turning at the same time. And people in my community at the time, like my neighbors and stuff, or like the taxi guys and stuff like that, I know some of the people. So I started running with them because I didn't know where else to go. Because the way towards my house is a direction towards where the people were, the rioters were coming, So I ran away from them and I started running as fast as I could just to get away. I didn't even know if they were chasing me or not. I just didn't want to be, I got scared. And when I cut this corner, boom, the same thing that was happening down this one street, another 1,000 people was coming this way. I cut this corner, boom, another 1,000 people was coming this way. And so I didn't know where to go. And so at the same time, I just freaked out a little bit. And luckily, one of the guys in the community, he was a taxi driver. He know me. He said, Ezra, come here, follow me. So I went towards him and we went to like a gas station. And at the gas station, we kind of hurdled up in a corner. In this corner, that's where me and the other guys who I knew in the community, we all stayed. Because in German Akababi, it's right next to the Oromo region. And apparently, what I didn't know then, what I know now is where I live was right next to the Oromo region. So many people from the Oromo region, from all over the region, start flooding into Addis Ababa. And they use my street and my neighborhood was the gateway into the whole city, literally. Where I live was the way where all the wave of rioters was coming. I was literally in the dead center path of these people who was very, very angry, So I get to the gas station and we all was hurdled up and a little bit, I felt confident enough. I felt kind of secure a little bit better because I was like, okay, I'm around people I know. And the people who was riding, they started going past us, actually. They started going past us. And then, they're still doing their thing, breaking glasses, screaming and yelling, hitting the floor with sticks and stuff like that. And so I was telling myself, maybe I can make it home. I was thinking, let me just try to blend in with this crowd of the rioters because they was walking in the direction of my house. I was like, let me just try to blend in with these guys and see if I can just blend in with them and pretend like I'm one of them until I get to my house and I just shoot inside my door. But I was like, what if one of them try to talk to me and they realize that I'm not one of them? And then they just start beating me to death right there in the middle of the street. So I was like, okay, never mind. I'm not even going to try that. I'm just going to stay right the hell where I'm at. And so maybe one wave of people went by, like, maybe 500 people literally went past us. And the second wave, it was like waves. At first, I tried to go in between each wave, like somebody jump roping. And you try to like wait till your chance to jump in. So when one wave went past, I said, oh, it's an opening. Let me hurry up and try to get home. But boom, I see another wave come. So I had to go back into the corner of the gas station where we were hiding, And so we were hiding. Maybe like 10 or 15 of us were all hiding, hoping that we don't be seen by these, the rioters. You know what I mean? And so everything was comfortable and cool until the second wave came, and before the second wave was led by one guy. I don't know, of course I don't know his name. It was just like a random, but the guy seemed like to be the leader because he had like a stick in his hand and he was screaming to the people in his language, "Come on! I was like, okay. So I'm just watching everything. So, but what made me almost crap my pants is this. As they got to the gas station where we were all hiding, the guy who was like, leading the people, he looked over at us. And man, this guy's eyes was like, he looked over at us, right? And I don't know what he said, but he said something to the people. And I swear to God, he made eye contact with me. So he made eye contact with me. And then he pointed at me. He said, and he looked behind him and he started yelling to his people. Man. So let me tell you what happened. When he did that, the whole rioters, all 1,000 people, literally start chasing me and the guys who was hiding with me. Bro, they chased us out of the gas station. I ran for my life, guys. I ran for my life. And I had my flip-flops on, okay? I had my flip-flops on. And so what happened was we all started running. And all of us was running in the same direction. We dispersed into like 3 different groups. I'm running with like 3 or 4 guys, another 4. I seen people jump inside of dumpsters. I seen people hide underneath cars. I seen people get into like random trucks that they didn't know was theirs or not. They just got inside. Anywhere that people could hide, they hid, right? And I turn around and I see people chasing me. I see like 100 people chasing me. And I become so scared. And the only thing that I could think about doing was sort of like separating, because we were all running in the same direction. Make a long story short, it was like a swamp. And in this swamp next to the market, I would say swamp, but let's say marsh. It was like very, very soapy, muddy area. And it had like a lot of water and trash and debris and stuff in it. I said, man, nobody will follow me here. So I literally ran through this marsh and my sandals came off my feet. And I turn around, people are still chasing me. I'm trying to chug my way through the marshes. I hear the people screaming and yelling in my background. And I got to a gate. I jump over the gate. And then I sort of like, my plan worked, because what happened was when I ran through these marshes, I'm talking about, if you see this marsh, you would not, like marshes, like it was like pretty much it was like a little lake. It was like a lake with a lot of debris, trash and stuff, where it's almost like, let's put it this way. You can say a trash site with a lot of water and grass and mud. Some place that you would never ever in a million years thinking about crawling into and through if you didn't have to. Because I was so afraid and I was fighting for survival, I literally went through that marsh. And it was trash. It was kind of like, it looked like it looked like I could have been going through doo-doo. It could have been a sewage. It could have been a sewage cesspool. And I was just fucking flying my ass through that shit, man. And I jumped over one chain gate into the other side of the fence. And I look around, people are still chasing me. And then the only thing that I could do was jump over a 10-foot gate. And this 10-foot gate had some spikes at the top of it. And I was so afraid of you guys that I literally jumped that 10-foot gate with a single bound, man. I'm only 5'6", but I jumped that gate. And the next thing you know, I ended up on the other side. But when I looked down at my foot was cut up so bad. It was like slashed. It looked like somebody took a butcher knife and just stabbed me in my foot, man. And I was bleeding all over. And when I looked up, I saw a little girl. She was like 10 years old. And she was petrified. She was more afraid of me than I was afraid of the people who was chasing me. And I said, hey, shh, hey, can you hide me? Can you hide me? She didn't understand my language, of course. And she was looking at me like, I guess she understood what was happening. So she pointed at a shed. And then I limped my way over towards the shed. And I stayed inside the shed. And I tried to hide inside her shed, guys. And I was hiding there for like 10 minutes. And I looked down at my foot. And my foot looked like I just put my foot through a grinder. Okay? I was bleeding bad. This is the worst cut I ever had in my life, And so I said, oh my crap. I look at my foot. I'm like, I started panicking because I did not like my foot being shredded up like it was. And so I just stayed there. And I was hoping I could stay there. And in the distance, not even the distance, I heard like metal gates being kicked open. Boom! You can hear people kicking open gates. I can hear screaming. Everybody was screaming. Women were screaming all to the top of their lungs. And so I'm like, oh man. I said, please, Lord, if I can survive this, please, Lord, let me live this. And I promise you, I will stop drinking. I will stop I would stop partying. I would just go to church every Sunday. I don't know. I would love my family, but I have a daughter. Please don't let me die, Lord. And so all I heard was like screaming. And then the girl, she come to the shed. She opened up the door and she said, Ine abat, meto, heat. And so I understood enough English, Amharic to understand what she was saying. She was saying, "My daddy's coming home. You gotta go." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like the way she was making it sound like she was making it sound like if her dad came there and saw me, I was gonna be in bigger trouble. So I was like, "Oh man," I was kind of like, "Damn." So what I did was, in her yard, she had like a shed next to her shed was like a trash can, and I jumped on top of the trash can, and then I jumped on top of her roof. And then I ran. I started running on top of the houses. So I was on top of the houses at this time. I jumped from one roof to a next, one roof to a next. And then as I looked down, I saw like, the people bursting open the gates. They was pretty much home invading. Like if you had a house, if you have a gate, they don't care about it. They'll come right into your house. They like, so I ran to one house to a next, and eventually the houses came to where it became like a courtyard. I jumped down in the courtyard. I saw like a Muslim lady, and she was there because she had the hijab on and stuff. And so she was there, and I tried to ask her, "Please, ma'am, help me. Could you help me? Could you bring me into your house and let me stay in your house?" And she didn't know what the hell I was saying probably, but all I know is when she looked at me, she ran her ass inside the house and closed the door and all the blinds to the windows and everything. She was scared too. And I was panicking. And so, because, I heard the people all around, So let me just wrap it up, start sort of speed up because, I don't want to take too much time. So I saw like a pickaxe. I picked it up because the lady had a garden. So I picked up the pickaxe. I went back on top of the roof because there was nowhere else to play. There was nowhere else to go. The only place that you can go was on the roof because all the streets was filled. And when I got to the roof, I saw other people standing on top of the roof. And I started running and I tried to hide. So I got into the gutters and I laid there in the gutters for like maybe 3 or 4 hours. And I just stayed there, and I didn't know what to do, and I had the pickaxe in my hand. And I said to myself in the back of my head, if these people come here and find me with this pickaxe in their hand, then they're going to get even more angrier than usual. And they still will hurt me. They'll probably take the pickaxe on my hand and use it on me. And so I saw the people going house to house, kicking open the gates, going inside the houses, breaking inside the stores. And so I got very scared. And so I decided, look, let me go to another house. So I started running to another house on top of the roof. And boom, I went right through the ceiling of somebody's house. I'm serious. I ended up right inside someone's house because I came through the ceiling. And as I got through the ceiling, luckily the person wasn't home. And so I went outside their house because I didn't want to be on the ground. And I tried my best to find a way back on top of the roof because that's the only place I felt safe. So this person also had some debris on this side of the house. I climbed the debris. I got back up to the top of the ceiling. And I started running until I saw another gutter. I laid down in the gutter. And I stayed there for I don't know how many minutes, 30 minutes. And I remember looking around. And I saw everybody. I saw people also on top of the ceilings, on top of the rooftops, because that's the only place you can go. And they were also trying to hide too. So I stayed there. I saw a big spider crawl on my arm. I was too scared to knock it off. I just let it stay. I just shoot it away. And then eventually I saw a helicopter, coming above me. I start hearing helicopters and stuff, flying over my head, flying over my head. And I also heard like the Allah Akbar. It was a mosque nearby, and I kept on hearing that, along with helicopters, and I'm just cooking in the blazing sun, And then eventually, what happened was I just stayed there, guys, until I felt safe. I didn't really feel safe. Let me just say, until I heard nothing. So when I didn't hear anything, I thought the coast could have been getting clear because I heard a lot of loud noise and it started dying down. And then I felt safe enough to call my wife. I told my wife, she's like, where are you? And I was like, she's like, you need to get home. I was like, I try to get home. Is it okay? She's like, you can come down now. The police are everywhere now. So I said, are you sure? She's like, yes, come home now. So I said, okay, cool. I'll come home. So I got down, I went down the door. I went down the side of the house. And when I got down, it was a guy. He was there with his wife and a servant. They patched up my leg with like a towel. You know, I started limping back home because I see the time of the video. I started limping back home, so I'm trying to speed it up. I started limping back home, and then I saw the police. I tried to ask for police help. They pretty much told me to get the hell away because they were too busy doing other stuff. And they pretty much blew me off. I limped home. I got home with a bloody trail, and on my way home, all I saw was buildings shattered, glass all over the floor. I saw pools of blood here and there, pools of blood mixed in with dirt all over the ground, and including my blood was all over the place. Eventually, when I got home, make a long story short, I knocked on the gate where I live. They opened the gate. Somebody was there. They eventually let me in, and everybody, I had like 30 or 40 people in my compound come surrounding me. Everybody was looking at me because my clothes was tattered. I had mud all over me. I had blood all over me on my leg, you know. And luckily in my neighborhood, it was a lady, she was a doctor, and she pretty much sewed up my foot. She didn't sew it up, but she took some, you know, she did some bandages, and she said, you need to hurry up and get to the hospital because you can get tetanus. And, you know, you don't want that to happen because, you know, you already got like a lot of nasty stuff all over you with this ugly, nasty cut. And I had a guy in my neighborhood. He took me to the doctor later on that day. You know, she said as long as within 48 hours. And so that's my story, guys. And that was the closest time in my life that I almost died, guys. I never had an experience like that in my life. And I have pictures of my foot, and I have 100 people who can testify to this. I'm going to try to show you guys, if you guys can see. Let me see. This is my foot right here. You see that cut right there? That's the cut I'm telling you about, okay? So, yep. So that's a true story. After that day, I realized that I probably need to leave Ethiopia because I can't participate in this kind of stuff and have a wife and kids be running all around my wife and daughter. If I was by myself single, I might have, you know, tried to do it, but I wasn't able to because, you know. So, guys, it's kind of a long video, so I'm going to cut this video short. Hopefully I wasn't rambling too much, but I would like to tell you guys more about the details about what happened this day, because there's a lot of stuff, like even in this one day, that I sort of skipped over because I don't want to go too far into it because it's starting to turn into a long video. But yeah, man, after that day, I realized that it wasn't the same anymore in Ethiopia. I realized that it wasn't the same anymore in Addis Ababa. And I realized that Addis Ababa can be touched, okay? It's not invincible. Therefore, guys, since this video is so long, let me just cut it here, and then I'll give you guys another video. I didn't expect to talk about this story, but I got so much to say, I don't know where to begin. So, yeah. So, yeah, in Ethiopia, it's a conflict right now, and if you want to go, you can go, but be prepared because you don't know what can happen next, and you just have to be ready. Unfortunately, I have a lot to talk about Prime Minister Abiy. I know the origins of the war, like how the United States got involved in the war. Basically, this war, if you don't know anything about it, or if you know something about it, and I know you might just say, oh, this guy, he's saying the United States is involved because everybody blames the United States. But the United States is very much involved because the United States put Prime Minister Abiy in power underneath Donald Trump and you know, Secretary of State at the time, Mike Pence. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story. I don't want to take too much time because it's already a long story. It's a lot more I can say, but let me just chop it off here and then we continue some other time. All right, guys, thank you. Greater Ethiopia.